You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play podcast that's normally Star Wars, but today we're bringing you something a little bit different, and you'll find out what that is after these words from our sponsors. Hello friends, and welcome to today's micropod on behalf of the Smiley Corporation. Your need-to-know nuggets of knowledge for the day are: coming soon, the grand opening of the latest Smiley World resort, Smiley World I.O. Thanks to the tireless efforts of our transformation division, Jupiter's most beautiful moon is now ready and waiting for your visit. With atmospheric leaking and radiation levels guaranteed to be within acceptable limits, and a family discount for Prime subscribers, book your tickets today. Say, "Hey Rebecca, Smiley World I.O. for more details." Following up on that story, we have plenty of employee vacancies also available at Smiley World I.O. Whether you're technically skilled, good at entertaining children, or helpfully receptive to intrusive cybernetic augmentation, there is a spot for you. What's more, Smiley Corporation will pay all the resettlement fees for you and your family to one of our employee habitations, so you don't even need to worry about getting there. Say, "Hey Rebecca, I.O. Termites," for more details. Life can be lonely sometimes. You work all day and come home to an empty house, wondering why you even bother getting out of bed. Luckily, the Smiley Corporation is here to keep you happy with their new holographic family generator. Starting with the ability to program and project one close enough artificial hardlight human, buy add-on modules until you have the nuclear family you always wanted, but without as much risk of cancer as an actually nuclear family. Say, "Hey Rebecca, solve my crushing loneliness," for more details. And that's all for this micropod. Coming next, an hour of auto-tuned weeping, interspersed with messages of compliance, to remind you all that no matter how bad you have it, it could be so much worse if you didn't work for the company. Stay tuned and keep smiling.
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune, and today we're playing Scum and Villainy, which is a variant of the game Blades in the Dark. This is the heist portion of the Outer Dark series. This is episode 3. So far, the parties have been given an amazing score, an amazing deal. They've been asked to go to the edge of space to recover treasure beyond their wildest dreams. They've been given all sorts of strange information. They've allied themselves with the Miners Guild in order to get there, and they've met a miner and his dog. And so far, the team has gotten pretty close to their target. Last episode, they got right to the edge of space without killing each other or killing the ship or killing the dog. And they're now confronted with a very weird, big, dead spaceman. But before we get into any of that, I can't run a game without some lovely players, and I'd love them to introduce themselves.
Hello, I'm Adrian Tchaikovsky. I'm a science fiction and fantasy novelist. My most recent works are the Final Architecture series, book 2 of which, Eyes of the Void, has very recently come out, and my novella about weird things going on with people and monsters called Ogres. And tonight I'll be playing Tarkavar Top Bairns, a weasel in human form.
My name is Adam Beltane. You know me, you should do by now. I will be playing Stercothrombosis, a mystic whose mind is attuned to the mysteries of the galaxy by virtue of his obsession with hallucinogenic toads.
I'm John Robertson. I'm a comedian and Twitch streamer. Depending on when this goes out, I can't wait for my birthday, or it's been really good. There you go. And yeah, I stream. You can find me at twitch.tv/Robotron, ROBVOTRON. And you can buy my one novel, The Little Town of Maraville. Yeah, just anywhere. I'll be playing Harlan Thompson. I don't remember what happened in the last session, but that's okay. Neither does he. He's a right-wing gun nut.
Hi, I'm Mim. I will be playing Dr. Kenneth Short, a drug-addicted medic who doesn't really know why he's on this boat with everybody else. Life isn't fair. He should have worked harder. He should have looked after his wife, spent more time with his family, maybe invested in some proper art portfolios, and maybe not done quite so many drugs. But here he is anyway. You can find me, generally, at Force Majeure, because you know me. I'm a force of nature.
So where we left off, your Abracadabra's field, which is the thing that protects you against the weirdness of space, had been given a full backwash and full-on snog to repair it from the dock. And Jitterbug had decided to take the helm, which resulted in some sort of weird drive going full Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and sending you straight through a cosmic tunnel, streaking past pretty much the rest of the convoy. As you break away, various moderators were chasing you, and you find yourself almost at your destination. But you also have now get to see what the edge of space looks like. And there is what can be best described as a dead person. They have eyes the size of moons, the distance that you're at. They are wearing what could be not described in this world, but be described by the players as full Lady Gaga meets Marvel Comics. They're wearing this bright purple crown with like a myriad of weirdness going on, massive shoulder pads the size of continents. They have these kind of knee pad, shoulder pads, body armor. They look amazing if they were at all person-sized, but they are quite clearly huge. And as you see them, and as you're slowly drawn into the gravity, you realise that there's probably another one further along in the distance.
Sturko looks out of the window at this sight of this titanic corpse, this dead god hanging in the void, reaches into his pocket, takes out his toad, and just licks it from arsehole to breakfast.
I'd like to remind the party that I'm going to start some clocks now. So you still have one clock where you get caught by the mods, and you're not doing terribly well. We have a new clock which is called The Crew Goes Completely Mad. We have another smaller clock called The Dock Goes Completely Mad. And then we have a final clock which is called Successful Heist.
Jitterbug points at the screen and just screams, I don't want to sound like some sort of goddamn bitchy Nietzsche, but God is dead, and I wouldn't be seen dead in that outfit, but God has been. Oh, goddamn! He then just starts firing openly with his gun as though to emphasize his non-point.
Are you shooting anything specifically? Are you shooting the ship?
We've gone past the end of infinity. God is dead. Nothing is meaningful. Shoot everything but the frog in the hippie's hand. He's just opening fire randomly. He's spinning in a circle.
In order to preserve the ship and us, can I have a flashback to where the moment I saw something this crazy hove into sight, I quietly popped the clip out of Jitterbug's gun?
Yeah, you can cheerfully take 2 stress and have a pre-prepared set of blanks, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I feel 2 stress is a small price to pay
for the ship not exploding.
God damn it, I've come face to face with God and my weapon has become impotent. I knew this would happen.
Hey, don't worry about it, because out here nothing is meaningful. Would you like some toad?
Yes, now.
I hand you my toad.
He eats it.
The toad attempts to escape your teeth by kind of kicking you in the face. Very much so. It's like you eat it, and then it's kind of squirming, and it's
like an amphibious moustache.
Yes, like an amphibious moustache.
Like another terrible Caucasian remake of Old Boy.
That is only the second most disturbing thing we are currently witnessing.
Until I point out otherwise, you are currently tripping balls, to use a technical term.
Well, all right.
You are roleplay it how you see fit, but you have taken the full toad, as it were.
You've gone full toad.
You've gone full toad.
That seems entirely appropriate to the circumstances, to be honest. If it wasn't sort of liberally coated with Jitterbug saliva, I'd be asking for a turn on the toad myself.
Hey, I've got spares. I prepared a whole nest of these things because I figured we'd be seeing something weird out here, but wow, that is beyond. Beyond.
But where's the ship? We've got schematics to a ship, and unless we're supposed to crawl up that thing's butthole, I don't see where we're supposed to go to get this thing.
So, good question, because what you've basically done is you've kind of like, you've gone past it, pretty much, very, very much further past it. I will need from someone a helm roll. I don't think any of you actually have. Oh, no.
Well, technically, we could have a point of helm if you wanted to spend that bonus point, because that was one of the 3 skills you could spend it on, wasn't it?
Basically, the Lord Gem itself will provide you with a dot and helm rig or scramble because of the ship systems, essentially. You can also prod the mannequin that's sitting in the seat to try and get it to do stuff, and that's kind of part of that role.
Okay. Well, while things are happening, the Doc is going to feel his way along the wall to try and get back to his room. Shut the door, attempts to put on some ridiculously loud classical music and get his paints out and try to paint the phenomenal multicoloured H.P. Lovecraftian landscape that he's seeing in front of his eyes. And, it's never a good thing being wasted with people you don't get on with, so he's going to lock the door and turn off his comm system. Bye!
Min, could you roll your doctor in D6s, please, and tell me what you get, just as you do art? It's basically a free use of your I'm a doctor, not an artist, Jim.
A 6 and a 4.
Okay, so you're able to paint your hallucination onto a painting. So pick your moment, but essentially what you've done is you've taken the trip that you're on and you've turned it into a painting. Now, the great thing about this is that you are now sane as you were before all of this started. The problem is that you have a painting that when you look at it will probably drive anyone else mad.
Better and better.
I think as the music starts blaring out, Sturko kind of looks at the toad legs hanging out of Jitterbug's mouth, then looks over at Top and goes, I think Ray has gone by Egon. What do we do now, yo? Can you fly this thing?
No, but I can threaten Jim, and he can fly the thing.
I mean, normally I wouldn't be down with that sort of aggression, but I think in these circumstances, we're warranted to get a little bit hostile here. Jim?
Hello, how can I help you?
And then Sturko looks over at Top and makes kind of gestures with his eyebrows.
Right, Jim, I'm going to give you some coordinates now. I need you to get this ship turned around away from the giant floating space body. And we have a ship to rob, and then we need to get the hell out of here to somewhere where things work properly and we can get some money.
I can detect a planetoid nearby. Would you like me to land on it?
No, ship, Jim, ship.
Like a ship, man. Flies through space, isn't a moon.
The Doctor is going to just take his normal amount of drugs and then decide to go back to the front of the ship. He's going to put the painting just to one side and turn it round. He's going to write a label on it saying, Licked Toad, Edge of Space, WTF, Ken.
What the Force?
What the frog?
Yeah, what the frog?
What the frog?
Use the frogs, Luke, use the frogs.
They have been used.
An active frog.
Can you roll me 2 dice as well, please, Adrian, for Taka? As he, again, it's standard risk and standard skill.
Well, it's a bad roll. It's a 2 and a 3.
Uh-ohs.
If I recall last time, we had some very good rolls, so we were about to do some bad ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was I trying to do?
You were rolling the helm for Jim.
Oh, God. Okay. So planetoid, you say?
If we're lucky.
Landing. I am attempting to deploy landing equipment. Landing on the coordinates that you gave me. Landing.
No, Jim. No. Jim. Don't make me reboot you.
At this particular point, I've just discovered, what do you know? My bloke's bloody full of the ability to intimidate. He gets a free dice for doing things like that. And fortunately, he bites down, the legs of the frog finally fall off, and he's suddenly heard to say, Now, gentlemen, let's all just take a quiet moment. There's no need for us to get as aggravated as we are. Now, my little machine friend, the instructions given to you were very clear. We don't wish to land upon a planetoid. We're going to go and find a ship. You understand the difference between those two nouns, don't you? Of course you do. You're an artificial intelligence, and intelligence is the word, not artificial. And if you would be so good as to take us where we want to go immediately, I might begin to blink again, you tiny fool. Don't you understand? The real me is currently subsumed by a pack of damn chemicals. If you could, take us to the ship, please, Jim.
See, man, toads are alive.
Can I get the intimidation roll, please? It would be a command roll plus you have scary. So that's
Yay.
+1.
Oh, that's good, because I got a 6, and we'll have another. Whoop, whoop. Oh, that'll be a 2, but nevertheless, come on.
In the tiniest voice, like imagine the biggest speech bubble you've seen, and then just like tiny little print. It just says, "Please don't take my legs. Please don't take my upper lips. I'll do what you say. Where am I going?" And it's like almost a subsonic squeak.
And now, good friend Weasel, tell the ship where we're going.
Right. I come pre-intimidated. I will clarify the Heart of Darkness coordinates, or at least whatever information we've got on it, and work meekly with Jim, looking over my shoulder many times to try and get us there without landing on anything, especially giant space bodies.
The doc is just going to gently elbow Sturko and go, I must still be really, really wasted because Jitterbug just made sense to me.
It's because of the toads. They put you in touch with your inner harmony and open your mind to the universe. I've been saying this, Doc. You really should stop worrying about all these prescribed chemicals and embrace the healing power of nature.
I've just had a whole load of toad, thanks. I am good for it.
The ship begins to swing around. You get a full view screen full of the crotch of this giant space god. Its clothing is surprisingly tight, and its anatomy is surprisingly human. And as you take in the horror and the majesty of this creature, the ship turns tail, and you see in the distance on the view screen as you head towards it at a sensible speed what can be best described as a horror movie. Essentially, the spaceship design is early Maniac. It is a collection of spinning spheres, cylinders, and spikes, all arranged in a way that, like, you've been around spaceships your entire life and nothing about this particular craft makes sense. It's ancient. It's got way too many struts and structures, so something that looks like it's fallen off, if you see what I mean. It's got that old, what to you is that old style of where they've clearly gone up into atmosphere and like added a bit, then added another bit, and added another bit. It's got solar panels even though it's this far out. But it just looks like a gothic fortress of a ship. And as you look through the schematics that were supplied to you by your patrons, you realise that at the very heart of the Heart of Darkness is where you're supposed to be heisting.
So, giant space body, you say? That suddenly seems like the sane alternative.
I think a little bit harder to loot, though. I mean, what would you even get from the giant space body?
Giant space pocket change, I don't know.
Okay, so we're going inside this H.R. Geiger nightmare, right?
So, you're floating in and you see there's various kind of places where you can attach a ship.
Is there a knackered docking clamp hanging off the side of one of them? A broken spacewalk?
There is. It's not just that. There's a slightly smashed spaceship crashed into the pylons. And then as you look, this is like a reef. And there's a collection of other smaller spacecraft on other ships that have just like attached themselves, but they're all broken. They're all in some sort of state of disarray. So this is very much a spaceship graveyard. And two lights are appearing on the console, and Lord Jim is going, "Yellow alert! Yellow alert! Yellow alert!"
What does a yellow alert mean, dude? Like, we didn't read the manual?
The ship is not on fire, you are not in immediate danger, but critical systems are at risk of failure. Also, things that you should be aware of that might endanger your life. There are 2 yellow alerts. Would you like me to read them to you?
Yes, immediately.
Okay, well, saying that you asked nicely. yellow alert 1s. The Abracadabra's field is functioning. It is functioning at 110% capacity.
Does that mean we're gonna get saner?
Oh, no, we need to turn it off. That's the whole point about this thing. We can't go there with the field on. Jim, shut off the field. Shut off the field now.
125%.
No, shut off. Off the field, not up, not more of the field. Less of the field.
The field is already activating it. I'm turning it off.
Jitterbug smiles at Jim and indicates, turn the field off.
It will require a manual disconnection.
Oh, just tell Jitterbug he can shoot it for the sake of all that's holy.
No, I'm on it, and I'll vanish off back into the infrastructure of our ship, like the proverbial greased weasel,
Okay.
dragging a tool bag behind me. Don't destroy anything!
I want you to understand I'm not going to go with you. We're not having a Kirk and Spock moment. You're not going to try to touch my hand through plexiglass.
Your hand is covered in toad!
Yes, he begins to lick the hand. Ah, again I have become calm, the sweet blanket of reality.
Calm or calm!
What an insight into what you're like in bed. Calm! Calm!
You get to the console. You open the cloche with the enormous toad inside. This toad appears to be. It's got wires and things again. It's plugged in. It is chilling. It is literally chilling. It's got some sort of lit a cigarette like in its mouth, and it's kind of like it just looks up at you and goes, ah.
I guess I start pulling wires out of the toad. Not a sentence I thought I would be saying.
You attempt to disconnect the toad.
Yeah.
That would be. It's not a rec roll. Let me give me
Rig.
There'd be a rig roll. That would be a rig roll.
So I've got an extra dice in rig from the ship.
Do you want to take a dark bargain, or do you want to push yourself?
Tell me about this dark bargain.
If you take a dark bargain from the toad, it will ask you to do something for it. You will open yourself up to the network of psychic energy that these creatures appear to have.
That can't possibly go wrong. How churlish would it be of me to refuse the toad? So that gives me 3 dice with the ship's dice and my starting dice. Oh my god, that's 2 2s and a 3. And a dark pocket. Hold on. Yeah, I have my Devil's Own Luck does not help. I've got nothing. So there we go.
So the good news is that you have evaded your dark bargain and you have successfully disconnected the unit. Bad news is that you've done that by unplugging it, realizing that it doesn't unplug, almost dropping it, and then just hitting the toad, and it's just gone kind of, and like the more you hit it, the less it moves. Because like you hit it once, and it's like it's done something. You hit it again, and by the third blow, you realise your error, as it were.
This is not the time for percussive maintenance.
The green disengaged light is on. The toad, however, is
off.
It has croaked.
Oh.
It had to be said. It was hanging there. I know, I went for the low fruit.
You can have inspiration for that. It doesn't do anything in this system, but you can have
I will call in to the cockpit and, sounding suspiciously brittle and chipper, explain that I've successfully completed the disconnecting of the drive. Extremely completed. That drive is one disconnected drive. Yes, sir.
I lean forward and shake you warmly by the hand, man to man.
The Lord Jim goes, the second item. So a series of warning messages in this space. Multiple alerts from various distress calls.
Yeah, it's from like the celestial coral out there, man. And Sturko waves his hand at the reef of broken ships. I think that means like nature is healing or something.
Jim, can you play a couple of the last distress calls, just so we roughly know what's going on in there, just so maybe we can avoid whatever did everything to these?
This is the obvious metaphor. The obvious metaphor. Under no circumstances should you approach the ship. Do Do not approach this ship.
Jim, skip.
No, hang on. I feel as though we should approach that ship. You can't be scared of an obvious metaphor.
Next message, Jim.
This one is just, not for Adam, just a series of lots and lots of different people screaming. You skip 5 minutes along, there's still more screaming.
That one seems less welcoming.
I mean, these are just the ships that didn't kill that didn't disconnect their abracadabra drives. So we've done the thing that means that's not going to happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It's pure Darwinianism. Darwinianism at its finest.
On a related note, and for no reason connected with what I've just done to the ship, we may need to pay a visit to one of those crashed ships out there, just in case they have something that might recently have been completely destroyed in our ship.
Well, that just seems like foresight. Well planned, man. Well planned.
Let's go to the one with the screaming. They seem to have problems already.
So we can hardly make it worse.
Other ships here include the Inheritor, the Shuttle Line, the Hour of Gold, and the Rescue. And all the messages are roughly along the same kind of line of do not approach. There's just one going, it was madness to come here. We have gone mad. Was that pretentious enough? Put that down! Ah! And then, death.
Yeah, that was from the SS French Expressionism.
Yes, I don't want to go to the one with the drama students in it. Let's not go there.
The yes and. So, are we going to the spiky nightmare ship first, or are we going to one of the happy screaming places? Or, I suppose if we don't get what we need from the nightmare ship, then there's no point going anywhere else, right?
Now look, normally, and if everything was normal, and if everything was level, and nothing is level, and nothing is normal, and may never be again, I would not go in for this degree of hippy-dippy nonsense. But I feel that if there is a ship called the Obvious Metaphor, then the ship called Rescue is a type of foreshadowing. I feel as though we should go to the rescue ship.
You may be onto something there.
I am on something, you fool.
Just give me a moment to realign my chakra, and I might be able to get a glimpse. All I need to do is open myself up to the vibrational wavelengths of the universe, and maybe I'll be able to help us.
You leave your clothes on, you dirty fool. How dare you?
Okay, you spoil sport. I'll just do it in the corner. Ed, I'm spending a stress for visions. To remotely view a distant place or person tied to me in some intimate way. I think the vessel that is narratively going to be our way out of here is tied to me in an intimate way.
Interesting.
Maybe. I mean, it's got to be worth a hustle, right?
Okay.
All you can do is say no, and then I'll be sad. That's on you.
Okay. You try and connect with the oldest ship that you can see?
Well, I'm not trying to connect with any specific. I'm just opening my mind to something that is intimately tied to us. So whatever vessel might be intimately tied, it might not even be the rescue, it might be the Geigeresque Nightmare. But out there somewhere is something whose fate will intertwine with mine shortly, and I will find it by virtue of Toad.
One of the toads on the other ship knows him.
In Toad we trust.
Hello, Sturko. What are you doing out here on the outer rim? Oh, I'm just having fun, man. Oh, cracking.
You connect with a ship called the Almir's Folly. You know its name. You know its story. If you just get this image, this is a ship that was full of optimism, and now it's full of people who were once people, and now they're mostly machines, and now they scavenge for parts to repair their own ship. And it's very precise and very mechanical. You have listened to all 2 episodes of the previous part of this show, because you were there anyway. So you have listened to that. You can relate that to the rest of the crew as much as you want, but you get that entire story.
So, the cosmos is telling me that there's something super heinous out there. I mean, even amongst, and he waves his hands at the window indicating the everything that's currently heinous. So, there's a whole group of mostly robot people who are scavenging for parts to rebuild their ship and themselves, so we should probably avoid those. The only upside is that their ship is probably in the best repair outside of ours, so if we need a functioning abracadabra field, they probably have some prime toad there. But, is this pre-abracadabra field, Ed?
Yes, it's so old it does not have an abracadabra field. It's almost like it was invented for this sort of thing.
Oh, no, wait a minute, I'm getting further clarifications. They don't have an abracadabra, they're toadless. Maybe that's why they're all drones.
You can also, using your ability, you can sense that most of the other ships do have functioning fields. Specifically, the Zip-Zap Boing and the Rescue both have quite bright fields.
The Rescue does have some mighty toad weight, so maybe you're right in that it's an aptly named vessel.
Right.
But first of all, into the Hellmouth?
Yeah, unless you want to split up and really make Ed's life difficult.
I don't understand it, but I have this feeling as though a sort of wall, an invisible one, a fourth one, being continually shattered, trying to build itself over and over again, and then again knocked down. This Ed you describe.
Okay, so your ship is majestically moving towards the heart of darkness. Literally, the name of the ship. Where are you connecting to? Are you connecting to one of the abandoned ships? Are you connecting to one of the many shattered pylons?
Can we connect directly to it through one of the pylons?
You can.
Is there any pylons that aren't shattered we can... I'm just trying to see if we've got anything on the Lord Jim that we can...
I mean, shattered might actually be easier to get into the ship with.
Yeah.
None of that inconvenient hull in the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm certain that Jitterbug at least will have something that can open us a hole, or indeed, Tarp, you can hack an airlock to get us in.
I will be in my quarters momentarily and return with supplies for all of us, chums.
Are you coming back with some of your best friends?
Yes, he comes back armed with enough things, something 4th of July. Jesus, there's a lot of them. It's like Apocalypse Now meets every other bloody war film that was allegedly fun.
Right.
Lord Jim goes, certainly playing Ride of the Valkyries. For no apparent reason.
I want you to know that I'm indifferent to the smell of napalm at any time of day.
I'm just hoping it's a very, very sort of tinny synthwave Ride of the Valkyries. 8-bit.
It sounds like it's being played on a comb with a piece of tissue paper over us. Because it's the only IP friendly one that Jim can find. So, yes, your ship drifts up. Per your request, you have drifted towards what appears to be an enormous hole inside of the ship.
Right.
I'm going to go and put my spacesuit on.
Well, we need to pick our load now, don't we, if we're actually going in to do the job?
Yes, you will need to tell me how big your load is, and then essentially that limits the amount of items you can claim in your load.
So light, normal, or heavy. I think I will go normal.
I am going heavy, mostly because my spacesuit takes up 2 of my 6 load, and I'm not going in without a spacesuit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's... Yeah, I'm assuming that's a given first. I'm hoping everyone else will go heavy, because that means I can run fastest.
Heavy.
I'll go for heavy, so I can take a lot of stuff. I work out.
The ship opens the side. You move from the bridge to the disembark area, and it kind of flips down. There is a plexi shield that kind of prevents the atmosphere from coming out. It's not like a force field. It's like a literal physical barrier that kind of folds out. Is everyone wearing spacesuits, or are you approaching this differently?
I'm in a spacesuit, even if we approach it differently. Sturko doesn't trust the air supplies out here. His one roots, he's got a toad in his rebreather, kind of roots around the toad, keeps the toads alive and helps him maintain his healthy buzz.
I get the feeling that you have a very customized rebreather system, and like we can just occasionally see smoke and water kind of like bubble, and yeah. So as you open up, there are things still floating around this big hole. It mostly appears to be crates and cargo, and yes, there are some frozen corpses as well.
Ew, corpsicles. That's not cool.
I mean, technically.
I admire your temperature-based humor.
They all look extremely surprised, especially the crates. So
I think you just broke John.
Yeah, a little bit.
The doc just pushes one casually and watches it float away. Says, is it a bird? Is it a plane?
So, I take it you dropped the barrier, and are you floating towards?
Do we have manoeuvring jets on our spacesuits?
Yeah, why not? They're fairly primitive, but they will allow you to move around.
I hate to do this to you, but my guy doesn't have any maneuvering jets on his thing, but he's got this big gun, you see. And is just now blasting his way to use the momentum.
I mean, the physics checks out, I guess.
There's complete silence, because in space no one can hear you scream at the bad space physics. And yes, complete silence. We just see the slight explosion as Jitterbug literally jets past you. Two things happen at once. One, because you don't have quite as the controlled thing, you smash into a crate. The crate shatters open, and they are frozen towards about 100 of them.
It's the mother load.
Freeze dried.
And you also hit one of the bodies that's been floating past, and it just explodes into jerky, essentially everywhere. And everyone gets a bit of either Toad or former passenger on their screens.
I'll have each of you know that jerky is a fine source of protein and good for you.
Yeah, but this one could have been your mum, mate.
Lots of things could have been. No one knows her face or name. A flashback. She used to travel by crate. She was always... We lost her in the dead of space. Yeah, go on, let's do it.
I say this is a zero stress flashback, but maybe ticks up the clock if Jitterbug goes mad.
Yes. I'm thinking of the Velvet Underground song about the guy who mails himself. I just got this. Is it Velvet Underground? I'm sure it is. Of the person who decides to send themselves in a crate across state lines.
It sounds like Flat Stanley.
Yeah, and then they get opened with a chainsaw, if memory serves. But yes, a flashback to someone deciding to explore space through the joy on a low budget.
I waved goodbye to my mother as she went to the interstellar post office. Unfortunately, it was British mail. We knew we'd never see her again. A familiar locket is in my hand from the exploded corpse.
A familiar head floats by, with the same look of disapproval.
My God, this means as much to me as it did when I was a child. Nothing! Guns!
That explains an awful lot.
For a 0 point flashback, you find yourself in your hand a locket, and inside the locket is an advertisement for a gun and another gun.
Mother. Oh. I knew I took after someone.
Raised in the woods by feral guns.
I was at the gunfinage. A sea of Roman Catholic guns. The pen guns, we called them. The Mother Superior cannon.
I mean, again, I can hand out inspiration because it's not a mechanic in the system. Okay, so you find yourself inside the ship now. It is essentially a classic horror movie set in the sense that it is all gangplanks, it is all metal, it is all steel, things are frozen, you can see doors ahead of you, and the lighting is red.
I will use the custom filter on my visor to change the lighting to something more congenial.
Nice. Does it cycle through like Predator vision, or does it just like turn the blue light filter off?
Yeah, it just makes it all look much less stressful, much more calming.
Hey everyone, get a load of Geordie LaForge over here.
Your face is illuminated with a pleasing pebble, and everyone else is like kind of like the soft, the harsh yellow lights instead. Okay, they are doors. It's not quite an airlock, but like this area has sealed itself off with like kind of bulkheads on either side. And I'm going to assume that Jitterbug, because you have the guns, you also have the map. Pull up the map, and it shows you where you're supposed to be. You've parked quite close to where you want to be, which is the big kind of cargo bay area which is literally like a floor down. But first you need to get through the bulkhead and then figure out how you're getting into where the goal is.
Now, tedious but necessary question. How big is this corridor we're going down?
This corridor is 15 metres long before you get to the bulkhead.
Oh, I'm thinking wide because we've been told the thing we're retrieving is enormous.
So actual gangplank-wise, it's about 10 metres across. However, in total, there's like 70 metres worth of space, but that's mostly cabling and equipment, if you see what I mean. There's a lot of space spent on making it a spaceship, and then like an accommodation to you, if you see what I mean. But this entire area is a mess as well. You aren't getting something very large through here.
Unless we blow up a lot of it.
Unless you blow up a lot of it. You could like tear it apart, you could rip it to pieces, and then you could get out that way.
Alright. Mind on the job.
So it's either crunch our way through or find another route out, man.
Well, also, they say the thing with 100 metres long, I mean, it might be shaped like a snake or something. Maybe we can go around corners.
I mean, that'd be cool. It would make it easier to stockpile in our cargo hold, man, if we just coil it. More people should, like, accept snakes as a form of currency.
How are you getting past the heavy bulkhead?
Is there an airlock built into it, or is it just a...
So what's happened is, something awful has happened in this space. There are bullet holes everywhere. Because you're all working space, you recognise that some sort of hypergolic fluid has eaten through the side of the ship. You're all carrying stab lights, so appropriately atmospheric. Occasionally you move the camera and you can just see where acid has eaten through the hull or where something has exploded. And what's happened is the automated bulkhead has slammed down. So to get into the other area, you would need to carefully go through there. You might decompress it, but probably not. The ship's so old, it's probably got no work. Yeah.
I mean, we could do the Michael Caine thing and just blow the bloody doors off.
My mother had a saying about things like this, the mother I've only just remembered thanks to this locket I have here. And it was, son, always carry with you an enormous detonator. And I have. He pulls out a detonator.
And as the inevitable happens, and we get a beautifully shot special effects scene, which is only slightly spoiled by the fact that you can see the string of a slow-mo explosion and various people shouting into helmets despite the fact that they have radios and there's no need to shout. We see the bulkhead buckle again, and we'll close the show for now, so thanks for listening, and thank you very much, everyone.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.